All right, welcome everybody to our fourth official podcast. You are with me, Ivan, and I am the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer of ProppyApp. And tonight, I am glad to introduce our guest for the fourth official podcast, who is also our co-founder of ProppyApp himself, Mr. Sean Yap. Woohoo! Hi,
Hello,
Sean.
hi. Good
How
evening,
are you, man?
everybody. I'm
Yeah,
good. I'm good.
glad
Ivan.
to have you here with us tonight. 恭喜发财
恭喜发财，
and
恭喜发财,
恭喜
everybody.
发财 and a happy new year, happy new year. All right.
Yeah.
So how has the new year been for you, man, this year?
Okay. It is a very different New Year compared to the rest in my life because this is the time where we don't get the chance to go out so frequently.
Yeah, like our Dr. Max say, we celebrate
Mm.
next year.
Yes,
So
correct. Yeah.
officially, this is our Proppy app Chinese New Year greeting. Celebrate next year because next
Yeah.
year
See.
is when we actually fatak, right?
Yeah. CNY. Yeah. Celebrate next year.
Yeah, man. Okay, as usual with our previous guests, it is only appropriate that I allow our guest to introduce himself because no one can introduce yourself except for yourself the best. So I'm going to let
Okay.
you take it away and introduce yourself the way how you would like to be introduced. So Sean, introduce yourself, man.
All right. Okay. Well, let me begin with a little bit of my background. I'm a KL boy. I grew up in Kuala Lumpur, and I was an engineer before. Then after I've gotten a British government scholarship called Chevening Scholarship, and I further my study in London,
Wow.
and I study MBA in the so City University of Business School in London. That was where back in 2001. Then after that, I came back to Malaysia and worked for another 10 years in
Yeah.
project management field. So
Wow.
all in, I was in engineering and project management fields, and I have delivered more than 60 million worth of projects.
Wow.
Then thereafter, I have joined the financial planning industry, mainly in the life insurance as well as will and trust. So of course, unit trust as well. So I have a registered financial planner qualification, and now I'm the co-founder of this company, Proppy App.
Wow, your portfolio and your resume is so powerful, man. Powerful. Chevening Scholar, all the way in UK. Tell us a little bit more about your scholarship. I would like to know Chevening Scholar. If only I knew, but I don't think I would also get it, lah. So how do you get yourself involved in? I know how were you chosen as a Chevening Scholar?
Well, every year, British government they have a foreign department that offers the scholarship for all the Commonwealth countries. So
Cool.
Malaysia, as part of the Commonwealth country, so it is once a year. They open to all the Malaysian, of course, in other countries like Singapore, Hong Kong as well. Now, it is open to anybody who like to go to further study in the UK in the postgraduate, mainly in a master degree. So that is where anybody can enroll in this or apply for this scholarship. So during my time in 2000, so Y2K at that time, 2000, and there were close to 1,000 applicants, and they have shortlisted 150 to interview, and finally offer around 50 scholarships.
Wow.
So those are the selection criteria.
So we have a Chevening Scholar amongst our midst, man. Congratulations, and we are indeed proud and honored that you are here with us also on Proppy. It's really amazing to actually have somebody like your talent and your experience and expertise is truly wonderful to have as well. But before we dive in, let me set the stage also for the audience that are listening in on our Zoom live session, as well as our podcast listeners on Podbean and YouTube. Well, this Proppy podcast session is an opportunity for us to get up close and personal with the people behind Proppy. And we've had 3 amazing guests with us since the first session that I had almost 4 weeks ago with Sharon Leong, who is also our marketing and communication shadow. And of course, our cutie last week with Dr. Vivian Chong, and not forgetting our legal eagle, Mr. Will Fang, that broke our Zoom participants attendance 2 weeks ago, man. But tonight we have quite a number of people who is actually in the Zoom audience. And like I said to the Zoom audience, please stay back after our podcast recording so that we can actually meet up with you on Zoom virtually, and also have an opportunity to have a Q&A session with our special guest tonight, which is Mr. Sean Yap. In Proppy Podcast fashion, even though we're going to take it casual and easy, I thought maybe tonight we can up the ante a little bit, and maybe give you some, since you're a Chevening Scholar, right? Some hard questions that has been circling around Proppy and about ProppyApp, and of course a lot about investments or even technology, because you say you've been in this tech project management, and we're gonna dive in a little bit more, so tell me, okay, let's go to let's start with personal a little bit more. Let's tell me a little bit about your career, how you started, and what are some of your interests, right from when you first graduated, and when you're back, and what have you learned from that experience as well?
All right. Okay. Well, I graduated in 1996 with a Bachelor of Engineering,
Wow.
first class honor degree in electrical and electronic from the UK. Then I came back straight to Malaysia, and I worked for a Swiss company, a multinational company, doing automation in power utilities. So basically, it's to use computer to control and monitor power substation and power plant. So that was my first job for 5 years. Then of course, after that, I've gotten the scholarship, and I went to UK to further my study with an MBA. Then I came back and I joined the local company for project management. So we did a project, infrastructure project, whereby the company was a system integrator. So we integrate a lot of different kind of system together. And just by the way, I would like to share also my major in the management of is a Master of Business and Administration. I specialize in management of technology and e-business because of my background as an engineer, electrical and electronic engineer before. So naturally, that was my interest. And during that time when I was in London, we did a lot of case studies about all the different kind of .com company. And during that time, it was the .com boom as well. So and a lot of case studies around, and we have studied on how successful company is really like, what are the elements they have. And in fact, during that time, the first no-frill airline also happened in UK. So that was the time when low-cost airline started. Before that, it was just all very expensive airline, and during that time, no-frill has started, and therefore many people are more affordable to travel around. So, and the founder of the no-frill airline was also from my university, so my senior during that time. So that is my interest. And then after that, when I came back to Malaysia, I was in the project management field for 10 years. And in between, I also left to Singapore for 1 year, being a regional manager for the Asia Pacific. So during the last 10 years, basically, I have a lot of exposure to different kind of projects and in different scales. So and that is my experience, in all the time dealing with engineering, technology, and also project management.
Well, it's a funny thing, because when I got to know you, and we just got to know each other only just recently. And when we got to know each other, I knew you as the guy who is the MDRT Chairman of Malaysia. How do you move from electrical engineer to MDRT Chairman, man?
Well, yeah. After working for 5 plus 10 years, underemployment. So basically, underemployment, no matter how hard we work, there is always a limit, because it's underemployment. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So therefore, I have decided before age 40, I've joined the financial planning industry and specialized in started with life insurance. So that is where I became an entrepreneur, where I put in effort in exchange of the reward. So, and after more than 8 years in the industry, I have been also qualifying for the $1 million roundtable, the one of the worldwide recognition in the life insurance industry, representing the top 2 to 3% worldwide, but in Malaysia, it's roughly just the 2% of all the life insurance practitioners.
Well,
So that is
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to actually have you, move from definitely a lot of different industries, different experience that has taught you a lot as well. But I would like to ask you as well, from there on, how did you hear about Proppy?
Oh, a Proppy first came to me through a very close friend of mine, who is the founder, Dr. Max. And we were actually ex-colleagues. And during the 10 years of working, I got to know Dr. Max in the last few, I think around 5 to 6 years that we worked together on various projects with high complexity. So basically, I ran the project, dealing with all the contractual matters and deadline and all the infrastructure and hard work. And Dr. Max was taking care of the software team. So, and during that time, we really deliver projects, especially with software from zero to something to deliver, to fulfill the project requirement. So it is really something, we were basically comrades during that time when we worked together. Then we stay in touch and we were good friends. And I saw him also venture into different kind of business with different ventures. And I myself was doing the insurance.
So in your time that you have actually got to know Dr. Max, maybe I want to ask you, since this is an opportunity for us to ask deep questions.
Yeah.
How, I mean, of course, it's fine, of course we need to, find out a little bit more from the horse's mouth. But I want to ask you and get your perspective in your, interaction with Dr. Max. How have you, found Dr. Max to be?
Well, Dr. Max is a person that is has nothing to hide. He's a very, it is a very simple person, but doesn't mean that he has a simple mind, because you require a very this intelligence to really do software development and software projects. So, but he is a very straightforward person. So throughout the years, I got to know him. Many things, especially when I work with him. So you see, we when we work together for the company, we have only one objective: to deliver the project successfully. So on my side, I have deadlines that I have to push him a little bit, but at the same time, I have to also understand the limitation and also the environment and the challenges he faced. So we work very closely together, just like brotherhood and comrades, in order to deliver the project together, fronting our clients, the consultants, and then we work like a family. So since then, from the beginning, I got to know him as a colleague, as a very close friend, as well as like a family member.
Yeah. And now that you've listened about, you've been involved in Proppy, and of course, I want to ask you your first impression when you first heard about Proppy. What was that first thing that came to your mind when he shared Proppy to you? I'm sure that was a couple of months back.
Yes, exactly. Well, with my background and experience, especially all the case studies I've gone through in my MBA, even though it was long time ago, but things never changed, but it just evolved. And over time, there are case studies and successful stories that we have seen. Like there are many new startups that have become very great company, from good to great. And therefore, when he shared with me the idea that this company is going to grow very big with a clear vision, then I know that is something really something lie ahead in front of us. What we need to do is we just have to run together and go after that dream. So when he shared with me, I was really, really excited. I didn't even have a second thought, because to me, in our life, opportunities like that really, really hard to come by. Once you get it, or it appear in front of you, the only thing that we can do is grab hold of it very tightly, and of course put in effort. Because throughout my careers and even my life, many things, when we come to realize that when there's something that we really, really want, just grab it and put in effort and go all out. In fact, I'm also ultra marathoner. I run the long distances. So I started from I started to run in year 2010, which is about 10, 11 years ago. From 5 kilometers, 10, and then half marathon, which is 21 kilometers, full marathons. Then jump up to ultra marathon. Ultra marathon distance is any distance that is more than 42 and 1.195, which is technical, distance for a full marathon. So it starts from 50, and then there is 80 kilometers, 100, 120, 160, so on. So throughout this year, my passion also is in running. And I started to run, especially to release stress, when I was under employment. So that is how I got to, get some physical exercise at the same time. And that is the me time, the best me time, where I can relax myself. But it is a very interesting sport, whereby it is really run sometimes not based on the body, but also the mind. So the mind drives the whole body. Many times when we go through this hardship, especially when you run a long distance. The longer distance I've completed was 172 kilometers, a trail running in Thailand.
172 kilometers. How many days did you take to complete all of that?
It took me 44.5 hours. So, and in between, I only took a quick nap for 15 minutes twice. So basically, it is 44 hours, always on the move, or at least not resting. But of course, there are checkpoint or pit stop where we stop to eat. But resting only maybe for half an hour.
That is amazing, man. To do ultra marathon. No, the person that I know, I have a friend who actually does ultra marathon. He did run 100 meters for charity, 800 kilometers for charity, and that itself was already it's like massive. You did 172, crazy.
Well, even driving, a lot of my friends will feel, exhausted, in driving 172 kilometers.
Amazing. You must have a lot of mental strength to be able to handle that, isn't it? You need to have
well, it takes training. Physical body, we need training. But at the same time, the mind has been trained as well. Whenever our objective is clear, then I broke the whole long distance into smaller chunks of it. So it's just like project management, whenever you have a big project, we cut into phases, you deliver phases by phases. So that is how, we do deliver very complex project.
For the benefit of those of you who have just listened in or just come into our Zoom session, let me just reset the room a little bit. This is not a clubhouse conversation. This is a podcast. This is a session for us to get up close and personal with some of our people, co-founders, founders behind Proppy. And tonight we have Mr. Sean Yap, who is also our co-founder, and he's also the director of sales, as well as merchant acquisition. So tell us a little bit, what made you turn? What gave you that confidence that for you, you wanted to get involved into this project, Proppy? Why? Maybe that's a big question. Why?
Well, everything will always have a start, and especially when it is a company that is full of great potential. And most importantly, when I've joined Proppy, I realized the team around us, around all the the members who are directly involved in Proppy, working so closely, so tightly, just like unlike anywhere I have seen before. And I really think that it is a very good effort put in by the founders, both Lee Wilson and Dr. Max, where they have pulled all the string and all the resources and people who already know them for years, and the mutual trust and relationships are already there. But once we put everybody together, basically it's just hit the ground running. So there is no time to waste, especially in this special project, where it will actually become a very legendary case study in MBA textbooks, where from the company has been founded since October up to now, while we have gone through so many rounds of these changes and evolvement, and we are ready to take off very, very soon. And the idea behind it is really amazing. When we are directly involved and knowing more about what is going on and what is going to happen next, it is just unbelievable. It is completely, it is something that will change the world. It is not exaggerating. It will change the way we live. But anyway, human lives is also evolving. Is changing. So from the past, when we don't dare to take a stranger's car, but now everybody can just go onto a stranger's car by using an application, mobile apps.
Right.
So because of technology, and there are so many things that can be achieved with the available technology. And now it is time where all the technologies come to a point, as long as people will know how to put all the puzzle together and connect all the dots.
There was
things were just.
So I'm just segueing a little bit into this question, because there were a couple of questions that were also asked to us, as we actually conducted a couple of our sessions before in the past. So I thought maybe we can actually bring up some of this ask me anything questions. And I think it's interesting, because there are people, like you say, nowadays you can actually go into a car that is a stranger, using Grab, or Uber. And there are a lot of all these platforms that is out there right now.
And you can live in others people's house, with Airbnb.
With Airbnb. So the question here is, what makes Proppy any different? Because you're like just any other platform out there, and that's been one of the biggest question where everybody asks. I'm sure you've been asked those questions as well.
Well, the thing is, it is where when and you see technologies, there are so many of them, and how to put all the technologies together and make things happen is the key. And I've seen a lot of cases, and technology has been used, but simply changing the conventional way into the electronically way is digital, is a digital format. But the way how it works, the business model and the method, the way how people live or use it, is about the same. And not until when company like Facebook come into the social media, e-commerce come on board, where people are doing C2B and B2C, all completely different, going to internet. And also a way how you basically use your transportation through mobile apps, and also now accommodation.
But isn't it scary? Isn't it scary that our lives are becoming so technologically driven and dependent? It's like everything right now, especially now with the current pandemic as well. This was a question that was also asked before. It's like, we are so dependent. I mean, it's inevitable. I think yesterday when we had the Malay, the Mandarin session, I think that Dr. Patrick alluded to us the fact that it's inevitable. And we know it is inevitable, but isn't it scary that we are so dependent on these technologies? Yeah.
Well, you were asking whether it's well. We come to think of it, it is just part of the the evolvement of human life. In the past there was no vehicle, and there is no no transportation. It's not common, but people still use bicycle or walking, and there are limitations. You can just go that far within the short period of time. and there were no communication. And remember those time when I was very young, we only have landline. We have to dial, the telephone pad. We have to push around
Yeah, it
the
goes
pedal.
in a circle. It goes in a circle. It wasn't even a button, it was a circle.
Exactly, and it was so expensive to call overseas. I mean, nobody really think of why we need to call overseas, because we don't even have friends overseas. Maybe some have friends or relative, but I do not have anybody. But things has changed so much that today we can reach out to my friend. During the time I studied in London, I got to meet some Chevening friends in Hong Kong, and we keep in touch. All the time by leveraging on technology. So we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook, and it's just a dial away, a message away that we can reach them. And even call or meeting up, is so easy. So it's just part of the life. And imagine a baby who is born today, they never can imagine how cassette tape looks like. Everything is just it's just
yeah, you
digital.
can. You go to the museum, you'll be able to find it though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you still have it at home.
Well, I think it is not working anymore. But it is part of life, and people and the younger generation is picking up things so fast. Just like my nephew is at the age of 8 and 9 years old. They already start to know how to do YouTube and the video recording, and they start to put on YouTube, and they start to even teach people, and they want to buy something, they can find themselves and just ask, I need this, can you choose this model? It is very intuitive, and they pick up the newer generation is then pick up technology just like that. But this is part of life that we have to accept. But technology actually have improved the life quality of the human beings so much. Yes, you are right that it may be scary if you compare to the older time, but generation to generation, when the new generation comes, it is completely, it is natural to them.
Yeah, I was just listening to Elon Musk, one of his very famous conversations that he had in an interview, and I think the moderator was asking him, "What do you think of AI?" And he just says, it's scary, but it's definitely going to take over everything else. And the question was, will AI take over our jobs? Will people be out of jobs soon? And of course, he was saying that the concept of cars, autonomous cars, self-driven cars, and the fact is that there will not be any more steering wheels in cars in the future, and he even alluded to the fact that owning a traditional car without all these features is like owning a horse. It's a luxury. And it's again, it's inevitable, but it is scary. But it is also important for us to be able to capture on this trend, isn't it? For us to be able to ride the waves and also be able to move forward into the future. And being entrepreneurs, and also yourself, you wanted to leave of course the corporate world, and then that's where you got yourself involved in mutual fund and wealth creation and stuff like that, and then coming back into this environment, how has it been different, and what is it what is it that you see within Proppy that could chart our future?
Well, there are a few aspects of it. With the vision of the founders, and they have really very good experience and background, where they have the potential to see what is going to happen in the next at least 5 to 10 years ahead of time, if not 20 years. Yeah. So and that is where when we know what is going to happen in the future, and we are preparing something for the future, that is where things will meet with each other, because things can be outdated over time, especially some older business way of doing business or business model. But when we realize and when we see through the future, how the future will happen, and that is where what we are doing, and to bringing things to the next level, especially not just making traditional way of doing business digitized, but also adding much more elements, which is big data, and also super artificial intelligence, as well as when the 5G is coming, things can happen so quickly, so quickly. Yeah, I think in this session I do not talk much about the founder yet, but when we get to know the core team, their background, their experience is so strong that we are very confident that things can happen. It's just now how to make things happen.
I mean, I'm interested to know also in terms of how you and I, we actually communicate, because we don't know each other. A
Yeah,
lot of us actually don't quite know each other until this actually came up, because but we all have some link somewhere, somehow. It's interesting because it almost works like as if we are all different nodes in the blockchain. If you understand that, we're very strong individuals, and and even if there's connection, it's just the people that brought us in that context. But what how did you actually find your place, in the sense that what really pushes you to say, okay, this is how we're going to be able to come in. I know that we're talking in riddles at this point in time. I know that people trying to say, so I'm just going to dig deep a little bit and then say, what is it that actually made you say, wow, this is how we're going to be able to do it, because we don't know each other. Other than what you say that you can do is what I believe that you can do, correct? But it just seems
yeah.
a bit odd that this kind of arrangement can happen and can work.
Well, yeah, being an engineer as my principal when I study, at the beginning. So I'm a very analytical person, So things that I see, I will try to understand, and then to put into prospect, and then before I can accept it and push for it. So, but in this case, of course, with my experience working together with Dr. Max, whenever he shares something, I really give a lot of credibility on what he say, especially with his experience in various venture and businesses. So when he told me about this, then my eye will really shine open, because we are talking about doing something that nobody has done in the world before, that put everything together into this platform where Proppy will be a one-stop solution on mobile application, where it can resolve a lot of issues and increase the efficiency and productivity of human life, and all centered around properties related matter. So whether it is renter, buying or selling houses, looking for agents, or all the peripheral services around properties, like plumbing, and servicing of aircon, whatever that you can think, is all available there. And not just that, and enlarge from there, there are also marketplace for second-hand stuff, and then group purchase. There are so much more, so many elements in it. And most importantly, I have a mission, because in my life, where my mission is to inspire and help people to live a life with love, values,
Mm,
and peace of mind,
mm,
which is what I do, good and best in my insurance, with this mission. And at the same time, this platform is actually doing the same thing, because it can help a lot of people to save money. And at the same time, if they want, they can also make money from this platform. And when we understand the philosophy behind it, by the founders, then, it is about share economy. So anybody who, is spending or putting in their effort, it really capture my attention, because, everybody deserves when they have put in effort. And it's not like any traditional or conventional system where you have a top down and and there are many people underneath working for the top, but it is completely different. And this is about share economy. This is about how we deliver the benefit and rewards to all the people who deserve it. And that needs technology to come in place to monitor, just like best in the blockchain how things are working, all this. So that put into perspective, this is really a platform and a system that can help everybody.
What has been the
regardless
biggest...
of who you are.
Yeah. So what has been...
It is a very fair system. It is
What has been the biggest challenge for you so far till now?
Well, I think the resources are coming in, and growing bigger and bigger and very fast. You look at now, all of us are mostly working virtually together. In fact, I have not seen most of my peers who are working in US. We met before, but there are so many more. I haven't seen in person. So all those, but it's so amazing that, but we still can get things going through and materialize it so quickly in the shortest possible time. That's why the Chinese New Year is as if like just a normal day for us, but we are getting ready for the celebration that is coming up. And if you ask me, the challenge I would foresee is that how we can push it out to the market and make it increase the acceptance as fast as possible. Of course, all things will need some time to work out, and that is where that we have a team that we have set up and make sure things are happening. And in fact, when we work with the founders, then they are, and not just the founders, also supported by very experienced chairman and also ExCom who are advising. And those are the people who has the intelligence, is a think tank that for us to know and to prevent us to go through the hardship. So we have all the blessing around us. I think for now it's just the determination and perseverance to make sure it happens. To me, it is just cup of tea, because as an ultra marathoner, we know the finishing line. We just have to chase after it. Whether it's walking or running, it doesn't really matter. When we go downhill, we run. When we go uphill, we walk a bit. But after that, we run again.
Yeah. So based on your understanding of what you have known about what Proppy is and how you are going to be able to capture the market, what is it within Proppy that you feel is going to be a real big game changer?
One of the big game changer is that it is really transforming the marketplace where property is being transacted. So there will be a lot more elements come into picture by leveraging on technology, where in the past it is quite impossible. So now technology will come in place. So we have the infrastructure and support ready also to make sure this is going to happen. But at the same time, it is not just simply for property transaction alone. It is also benefiting all the house owner, whereby, especially on one of the platform where mortgage optimization plan, and that is a plan that any mortgage owner can benefit from it. So, and it is helping people to save money. And, actually at the moment, whatever that you go, wherever you go, most of the things will require us to spend money. Except saving or insurance. Sorry for advertising a little bit. So when you do proper planning, so insurance will be able to help. But and mortgage, we have a plan to help people to save mortgage interest. So it is hardly any platform or any services will help people to save money.
There are two challenges that come straight from that, and that is actually from experience and of course, some of the questions that were asked straight away.
Mm.
When they say something that is too good to be true, because it sounds too good to be true, it has got to be too good to be true. What do you have to say to that?
Well, everything happened twice in our life.
Uh,
One is through, the visualization, and the
yeah,
second time it happened, it is the real thing.
yeah,
It is materialized.
yeah.
Yeah, we everybody ought to have dreams, and this is not a dream, but this is a realistic dream. Things are already can work very well because as with the experience of the core team, the
Mm,
co-founder teams, especially the management. If you ask me, yes, it may be too good to be true, but not everybody have the chance to be exposed to this opportunity. So therefore, whoever that you are able to come on this platform, this is a rare chance, probably in our lifetime, that you can see this opportunity to get a move yourself.
So the question of it's too good to be true, then that means it's too good to be true. That's number one. The second question is there such a thing? How do you answer to that?
Well,
How do you convince
well, we are,
someone who is so skeptical to send that it cannot be because it's unheard of and it's too good to be true? Is there such a thing? And why are you so convinced that there is such a thing? Because
well,
it's
Ivan, for me, I'm a doer.
mm,
I do things. I normally will share passionately
mm,
the things that we are doing and seeing,
yeah,
and I have a team that we work together by overcoming all the challenges. Challenges is common, but and in fact, it is not my job to convince them because everybody will have their different point of view, and
yeah,
whatever they have decided is fully respected, and this is in line with what I do also. My job as a financial advisor or financial or
mm,
wealth planner, I do sharing and advising, and giving the my prospective client options for them to consider. Now
mm.
the final decision is all but on their hand. So if let's say they would like to see something more concrete to happen, just bear with us and wait for the time to come. It will happen. But the earlier people who can get involved in this, they get to see more thoroughly and deeper what we are doing. It is very exciting actually. So come to the end also, I would say actually there's nothing to lose. But of course it is all up to the individual. I will invite all the people around me, especially my close friends and friends and
Yeah,
family, please
yeah.
see it for yourself and ask all the questions. And normally many questions I do not have to answer myself. There are people and my team around concrete.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, that's the thing that, well, that's the challenge all the time. Wherever we are,
Yeah.
that's going to be mainly asked because it's got to. If it, I think it's all in the context of trust, isn't it? At the end of the day, if we
Yeah.
are in it because we have seen it, but of course, there's going to be one meat that has. I mean, of course, I would trust if like I know someone who is really into this and there's a belief that this is really strong and really powerful. There will still be bound the trust is always built upon something, and that is the thing that I want to ask. What is it that you can put it on the plate to people if those um, who are trying to say, okay, tell me what it is. I'm willing to listen. You seem to be someone who is very analytical. You take the time to look through and to think about it. So what is it? What is the meat? What would you say to someone who's not to say that skeptical, but skeptical enough to not skeptical enough to ask you that question? Like, what is it? What is it that you're serving out?
Well, Proppy actually has a great vision, and there are so many platforms that is already put in the pipeline. So normally I will share some experience on, I think I borrow it from the founder where they have, he has shared, Lee Wilson has shared some idea on, what people are doing today, especially when in the property selling and listing. So what the agents, what the current market is doing for the seller, the house owner. And in future, things ought to be changed. The younger generation is more and more intuitive, more and more like to do things for themselves instead of passing it to other people. So that is where I will share some example. one of the great example is on his sharing on how are we. It's a question that I also always share and ask my friends. Will you be willing to pay tens of thousands for somebody else to do a Facebook posting for you? Now the answer is quite straightforward. Why need to if I can do it myself? Now that is where I can bring it into the picture and start sharing on how the property listing is being done and what is the ecosystem and infrastructure that we have built for people in the property industry, including basically all the stakeholders, and it will benefit all the stakeholders, from house owner, from people who like to rent a property, a buyer, an agent, and developer, as well as people being an ambassador to also share and refer other people about the platform. So this is when I start to go a little bit in depth, then normally in 10-15 minutes they get a clear idea. Now next is how whether they are excited or ready to participate. Now everybody will have their position. My job is to share what I'm doing and what I see and what we are going to do. Now, this is an opportunity that appears in front of us. Whether it will lead to another or the timing, whether the right place and right time is all up to individual.
And we always end our sessions with Ini Kalila. Of course, Ini Kalila
Yeah.
it's a very popular political cry. But that was used, of course, to allude to what happened in our 2018 general elections. What in your opinion is this whole mantra, and how significant it is for us among Proppians, when we use this mantra for ourselves? What do you think it means?
Well, I will talk about this by leveraging or borrowing what Dr. Max has always shared. Dr. Max has been doing software development and software projects for many years, and there are people who come to him and also ask, we would like to do a software at this scale. Can you do it for us? So it will cost hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions to do so. And after the finishing of the project, there will be still maintenance costs and to keep going. So it is a huge cost for that, involving a lot of resources as well as a lot of skills and tools. Now, and what I'm trying to say is that in order for somebody to do this, you really need a lot of talents and resources to put in place and put all the puzzle together to make sure it is a finished product. But here is different. The puzzles and bits and pieces are already intact. They are all connected. What we need is the battery to make sure it is keep moving and growing and bigger and bigger. So, and this kind of opportunity rarely come by, especially not to most people. It may come once in a lifetime. If the person have twice, they better grab this as the second time. I do not know, how many time, people will have this opportunity in life. So therefore, when this is, in front of us and we grab hold of this opportunity, wow, like, the mantra, this is the time. And this is the moment that we really have to appreciate. And not just that, not sitting down, waiting it to happen, but to make it happen together. We have a great team. We have a great team. We have all the right spirit and all of the people who involve with positive mentality and mindset to make sure it happens. And as with my experience, whenever everybody have a clear vision on what is going to happen, it is just matter of time. And the challenges is we have to make sure it happen in the shortest time possible.
And that is why
Shortest time possible.
we have
Yeah.
our amazing race, reaching our target in that fastest and shortest possible time. A challenge
Yes.
that each and every one of us have that is carrying, is a flag that each and every one of us are carrying. But I also agree with you in the sense that opportunities don't come by all the time, right? I'm not sure how many of you out there, if you're faced with opportunities after opportunities or opportunities. Actually, opportunities come. It's just whether or not we are able to be quick enough to capture them. In fact, there are a lot of waves of opportunities, but whether the opportunities are open to us and is straight out in our face. Sometimes when they are, we don't even realize that they are, and sometimes we just let these opportunities go by without us realizing it. And this is why it's so important for us to, if we do not know how to catch opportunities, then it is important for us to actually ride on the same boat with someone who knows how to catch those opportunities. I think this is also very important. I am someone who has time and time again, somehow or other seem to have missed the boat a couple of times, whether it is Bitcoin or uh, whatever opportunities you have, buying a Tesla stock or whatever opportunities that could come by, or people that you meet. It's so hard for us to actually know exactly when and where, isn't it? And this is probably the last
Yeah.
question I'm going to ask you, in a sense that, segueing into this, if it had not been for Proppy, what would it be for Sean Yap?
Well, well, if it's not Proppy or it doesn't appear in my life or lifetime, well, Dr. Max is still my close friend, a very good buddy of mine. So we still, may have something that we can work out together,
Mm,
on maybe a completely different path.
mm,
I'm also doing good in my what I'm doing now.
mm,
So the $1 Million Roundtable that I've share, it is the top 2 to 3% of the worldwide life insurance practitioner, which is where it is the biggest learning platform. There is no separation in terms of companies and countries. All the top performers worldwide will get together normally and to share
mm.
their ideas and sales concept, so that we can serve the public, and people around us better and better.
Will you be happy with that?
Well, it is something that I'm doing as a community service,
Mm.
voluntary service as a country chair nominated and approved by the
Yep.
$1 Million Roundtable in the USA. It is also a challenge and a learning curve for me. I've been qualifying for 4 years and I'm continuously doing this. But in what I'm doing, actually, I'm also helping, and just like my mission, to inspire and help people to live a life with love, values, and peace of mind. And
Mm.
I can find the same value as well on this same value on ProppyApp. And
Yeah.
therefore, it really resonates and encourage and push me to do these two things together. At the same time, people who really require financial advice or recommendation, they can always come to me. But where else? I'm doing this also to benefit the general public in terms of helping them to save money and also to make money. Nowadays, things the pandemic happened, and many people have been affected, in one way or another. So and therefore, there's a platform that can help people to make money. It is, you don't. It is something that will really help, especially when people with intention to do something for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what a nice way to end it, because you have just segued yourself back to Proppy, which was supposed to be the second part of this question. Now that you're in Proppy, what's next for Sean Yap?
Well, I am very happy to be in the core team.
Mm,
In fact, if you look carefully, I will call our core team a dream team. Hardly you can get people with that heavyweight on board and experienced people on board. and work together as a team, as a family, towards our goals. So, since I'm on board, I will just keep running, just like ultra marathoner, and never look back. Now, the focus is our finishing line. In fact, there are many finishing lines after finishing lines. So now we are aiming for the first finishing line.
Yep.
Yeah. So once we cross the finishing line, then there's another one. So I think there's no time for us to look back, but to focus ahead. So for people who are very excited and interested in joining or get yourself involved, this is the time. Don't get yourself outside, because by the time this is taking off, time have passed. Opportunity has been wasted a little bit. Of course, anybody can still take part later on. But if you can get involved the earlier part and being somebody and a stakeholder or shareholder to be excited together, why not?
And there you have it, the last word with Sean Yap, our co-founder as well as Director of Sales for ProppyApp. And thank you so much for your words of wisdom, Sean. It has been a pleasure. It's been a fantastic 1 hour talking to you tonight. And we hope to actually have more of you sending us your questions if you have. If you want to actually find out more about Proppy, do connect with us on our Facebook, on any of our social media channels, or even if for those of you who are actually on the current Zoom session, if you want to know more about Proppy, connect with the person that has actually invited you to join us for tonight's session. But if you want to actually come and just explore by yourself, we do have a couple of other social media platforms that we are actually right now pushing out. Having been involved, having gone into Clubhouse, we are going to be having our first Clubhouse session conversation on Tuesday together with Dr. Max Chen. And on Wednesday, we have our mortgage optimization plan training for the Mandarin session. And on Thursdays, it will be the MOP, the mortgage optimization plan training for English. Whereas on Saturdays is when we have our Proppy show, our Mandarin pitch. And of course, Sundays are when we actually have our Proppy podcast recording. So thank you so much once again for all of you for tuning in and also for coming in to listen to us live. Thank you, Sean. And next week, we are going to come back again with another round of podcasts. And we come and find out who is going to be our next guest.
Yes. Yeah.
On our
Thank you, Evan.
podcast. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best. Gong Xi Fa Zai. This is the 10th day of Chinese New Year. And I'll see you again next week. Same place, same time. Good night, everybody. God bless. Take care.
Gong Xi Fa Zai. Happy New Year. Thank you, Evan. Thank you, everybody.